Mount goes down. It's a penalty for England. Minutes to go in this World Cup quarter-final. Harry Kane steps up. He's missed it. Harry Kane has missed from the penalty spot. England's World Cup is over.
That's something I'm going to have to take on the chin, and it will hurt for sure, and the whole game will hurt.
It's the January transfer window, and Tottenham Hotspur have agreed a loan deal with Leyton Orient for their youngster Harry Kane.
January 2011. Harry Kane is 18 years old and still part of Tottenham's academy setup. But this is his first move into senior football. At Spurs, his development had been gradual. Training during the week, youth matches at the weekend, and a clear structure around him. Leyton Orient is different. This is a League One club in the middle of a season, with its own priorities and pressures, and Kane is coming in to help immediately. He's playing against experienced defenders in smaller stadiums on tighter pitches. The games are quicker, more physical and less forgiving. There's no adjustment period built in. If he plays well, he stays in the team. If he doesn't, he comes out. Kane gets minutes, which is the most important thing at this stage. He scores goals, settles in quickly, and becomes a regular part of the side. The performances aren't dramatic, but they're solid, and that matters. He's learning how to prepare for matches every week, how to manage his body, and how to perform in an environment that isn't designed around development. When the loan finishes, Kane returns to Tottenham without much attention. During his time at Leyton Orient, Kane scored 5 goals in 18 appearances. There's no suggestion that this has changed his status at the club, but it's given him experience, and that experience becomes the base for everything that follows. Leyton Orient is a short chapter in his career, but it's a necessary one. It's the point where Harry Kane moves from youth football into the professional game, and where his pathway starts to take shape. When he returns to Tottenham, he's still on the edge of the first-team picture, still one of several young forwards trying to work out where he fits. What follows over the next 2 years isn't a breakthrough, but a pattern. In early 2012, Kane moves to Millwall. The environment is more demanding again. The football is more physical, the expectations are more immediate. This isn't a place where young players are eased in. He's expected to compete, to hold his own, and to deliver. Kane plays regularly. He scored goals. He takes knocks, and he learns how quickly games can turn when margins are small. At Millwall, there's less focus on potential and more on output. Performances are judged on what happens during 90 minutes, not on what might happen in the future. During his time at Millwall, Kane scored 7 goals in 22 games. Later that same year, he joins Norwich City. On paper, it's a step forward. A Premier League club, a higher level, a bigger stage. In reality, it's a different kind of challenge. In only his second appearance for the club, he suffered an injury, broke his metatarsal bone. The loan comes to an end, and he was sent back to Tottenham to recover. There is no defining moment to point to. No sense that he's forced his way into the picture. In 2013, Kane moves again, this time to Leicester City.
Like I say, last week I was looking to get out on loan to a Championship club, and Leicester were available, and the deal's got done now, and it's like looking forward to it.
They were a team fighting to get promoted to the Premier League. He arrives mid-season, joining a team with ambition and an established structure. The focus isn't on development, it's on results. Once again, his role is unclear. Appearances are brief. The rhythm never quite comes, but he was seeming to find his feet. When the season ends, he goes back to Tottenham. Leicester go up. Kane ends the season with 2 goals in 12 appearances. By this point, his career path doesn't look unusual, but it doesn't look exceptional either. He played across 3 divisions, experiences different styles, different demands, different levels of scrutiny. During these loan spells, he scored goals and goes through dry spells, but Kane isn't identified as a future star. From the outside, it's difficult to see what separates him from dozens of other young players moving through the same system. His progress isn't linear, it's uneven, sometimes quietly productive. This is where the idea of the obvious elite player is heading somewhere special. By the time Kane returns to Tottenham after Leicester, he isn't arriving as a solution. He's arriving with more questions than answers. Questions about his role, his level, and his future. Tottenham is entering a new era under Mauricio Pochettino. The Argentinian manager arrives with a clear idea: pressing, youth development, a style built on work ethic and intensity. For Kane, it's the first time he's stepping into a first-team environment that believes in him. But minutes are still hard-won. He has to earn trust every week, and he repaid that trust in his first real test, the North London Derby. The North London Derby is one of football's most intense rivalries. Tottenham Hotspur versus Arsenal. It's more than just a game. It's history, pride, local identity played out on the pitch. It's the battle for dominance in North London.
Lamella's delivery flicked on and put into the net by Harry Kane. A tap-in inside 12 yards. It's 1-1. Bentaleb with the cross. Kane with the header. It's in. Kane has surely won the North London Derby for Tottenham. Full-time, Tottenham 2, Arsenal 1.
Yeah, just it's an all-round great team performance, and obviously to get the 2 goals in my first North London derby was something very special to me.
Kane's double against Arsenal was the turning point in his career. In the stands that day was England manager Roy Hodgson.
Roy Hodgson is set to announce his squad for England's upcoming Euro 2016 qualifiers. There are rumours that Tottenham's Harry Kane is due a call-up.
Yeah, he's been magnificent. He fully deserves to be in that squad.
He's already got 16 goals in the Premier League this season. Surely that's enough to deserve a spot.
His rise has been fantastic since he broke into the Tottenham team. He's done so well. And I think it would have been much more of a surprise had he not been selected.
Almost immediately, attention shifts back to club football. Tottenham are still competing on multiple fronts, and within weeks they reach the League Cup final at Wembley. Spurs face Chelsea. The rivalry between Chelsea and Tottenham is one of the Premier League's most competitive. It isn't defined by geography, but by repeated clashes in big moments. Over the years, tension has built through controversial goals, hard tackles, and games that rarely feel settled until the final whistle. When Spurs face Chelsea, the intensity is high, the margins are small, and the stakes often go beyond the league table. For the club, it's an opportunity to win a first trophy in years. For Kane, it's his first appearance in a major final. But Chelsea take control in the second half.
Here's Costa, looking for that second goal. Deflected, and it's in! Chelsea 2-0 up in the final.
Tottenham leave Wembley without silverware. The sequence is telling. In the space of a short period, Kane experiences both recognition and disappointment. An England call-up confirms his rise. A final defeat underlines how narrow the margins are at the top level.
We've done really well to get to the final because there was a lot of things that weren't quite working, but we found a way through determination and grit and the togetherness to get there. Of course, we fell just short, but I think that gives a lot of the players belief to know that if we can get it right and get it firing on on all cylinders, we can be a real handful to stop.
As the season moves on, Tottenham find themselves in a position few expected. The squad is young, the manager is still new, and expectations at the start of the year were limited.
We're only 3 games in. I know if I keep doing what I'm doing, I'll score goals and hopefully have a run for the Golden Boot again.
But as the months pass, results begin to accumulate. Spurs stay close to the top of the table. Performances are consistent. The team presses high, plays with intensity, and grows in confidence. Harry Kane becomes a central figure, not just as a goal scorer, but as a reference point in attack. By the spring of 2016, the picture is clear. Tottenham are in the title race. The situation is unusual. Leicester City lead the league, defying every prediction. Tottenham are the closest challengers, trying to keep pace while managing the pressure that comes with expectation. Each match carries added weight. Every dropped point feels amplified. For Kane, goals matter in a different way. Tottenham continue to win, but the margin for error remains small. Injuries, suspensions and fatigue begin to play a role. The intensity of the schedule builds, and the atmosphere around the club shifts from optimism to belief. The defining moment arrives in early May at Stamford Bridge. Tottenham travel to Chelsea, needing to win to keep the title race alive.
It is Chelsea versus Tottenham Hotspur. It's simple. Tottenham have to win to have any chance of winning the Premier League.
It's gone through to Harry Kane, and it's in the back of the Chelsea net. 1-0 Tottenham. Eriksen's pass through into Son. It's 2-0 Tottenham. Tottenham are 45 minutes away from a win at Stamford Bridge.
The match becomes chaotic. The tempo is high. The challenges are heavy and emotions spill over.
And it's Cahill. Chelsea get one back. Costa to Hazard. With that goal, Leicester will be Premier League champions.
When the final whistle goes, the title is effectively gone. Leicester City are confirmed as champions. Tottenham's challenge ends not with a defeat, but with a release of tension that has been building for months. It is their highest league finish in decades, and on paper a success. But the sense around the club is mixed. They had been close enough to imagine more. For Kane, the experience is formative. The title race introduces a new kind of pressure, sustained, collective and unavoidable. It's not about one match or one moment, it's about maintaining standards across an entire campaign. The disappointment lingers, but it doesn't stall his development. Instead, it sharpens it. When the next season begins, Kane returns with greater clarity. His role expands, his responsibility grows. He scores with consistency across the calendar year, adapting his game to different opponents and situations. By the end of the 2016-17 season, he finishes as the Premier League's top scorer. The achievement reflects not just talent, but durability. He's played through setbacks, carried expectation, and remained decisive over time. The contrast is clear. A season defined by collective disappointment is followed by individual recognition. Tottenham fall short of the title, but Kane establishes himself among the league's elite. For Kane, it marks the end of one phase and the beginning of another. He's no longer a player breaking through. He's a player measured against the best. By 2017, Harry Kane is no longer Tottenham's breakout story. He's the foundation the team is built on. Every season, the numbers stay high. Goals and assists, pressing and link-up play. But with consistency comes expectation, not from fans, but from the outside. The debates start to grow louder. Should a player performing at this level stay loyal if the trophies aren't arriving? Is greatness measured by medals or by output? Kane keeps scoring. Spurs keep competing. But the final step keeps slipping away.
Yeah, of course. It's a World Cup. There's always going to be pressure. There's always going to be nerves and excitement. So for us, it's just about training hard, working hard until the game. And then, just going out there and having some fun.
The 2018 World Cup. This isn't just another tournament. It's where a striker's reputation becomes global. England arrive without pressure, but Kane takes control of the group stage, scores 6 goals and carries England all the way to the semi-finals.
It's the World Cup semi-final. England have a chance to make history here tonight. One challenge, get past Croatia.
A massive game for us, we all know that, but there's no need to make it bigger than what it already is. Just focus on what we need to do, on what the job in hand is. But we're going to obviously take a lot of good things from the past.
Trippier, a glorious goal. England lead 1-0 in the semi-final. England are 20 minutes away from a World Cup final. In comes the cross. Perisic with the effort. 1-1. The semi-final is back where it started and we go to extra time. Perisic again. The ball falls to Mandzukic. Croatia lead in extra time. And there goes the final whistle. England are out of the World Cup.
Heartbreak for England once more, and another final lost for Kane. He wins the Golden Boot, which was bittersweet. But for the first time, his standing isn't tied to Tottenham or the Premier League. He's recognised everywhere, a name that carries weight on its own. When he returns to Spurs, the club are on an upward climb. In 2019, they reach another final.
Just love all their support, you know. We know how much it means to them. We know how big this game is in this club's history, and everyone wants to be here. Everyone wants to be a part of it. So we'll do everything in our power to leave it all on the pitch and try and send them home happy.
This game being a landmark moment in Tottenham's modern history. Champions League finals aren't normal fixtures. They define stories, eras, careers. Tottenham's path is improbable. Comebacks, late goals, a run that feels like momentum is drawing them somewhere new. Kane starts the final after returning from injury, but Tottenham have a terrible outing in yet another final. It ended rather quickly, and with it goes the feeling that everything was building towards something bigger. What remains is another lesson in how narrow the margins are at the top.
I do think this season is a definitive season in Harry Kane's Tottenham career. But I've been at that club and watched players outgrow that football club. You know, Bale, Berbatov, Modric, Michael Carrick. And if the club don't show the ambition required to keep these types of players, then inevitably they move on.
This period becomes a portrait of sustained excellence without guaranteed reward. Spurs change managers. Jose Mourinho, a mastermind and legend of the sport. But with all the change a different manager brings, Kane remains the same. The questions about his future get louder, but his performances never drop. By 2021, Kane isn't just Tottenham's focal point. He became England's captain. With that comes a different kind of pressure. Not week-to-week club pressure, but national attention. Kane becomes the player whose form shapes the entire conversation around the team. Every goal is celebrated, every miss debated. He evolves into a leader defined not by big speeches, but by reliability. And then comes another World Cup. Kane had an okay tournament up to this point, but England as a team were flying and made it through to the quarter-finals.
We've shown we're a really good team in this tournament already, and yeah, for us now it's just about trying to take another step forward.
The kind of match that becomes part of a player's long-term narrative, regardless of the result.
Chouameni able to get a shot away. It's a glorious goal. And the world champions take control. Sakic goes down.
It's a penalty for England.
Kane from the spot.
It's in!
Kane keeps his head. 1-1. Griezmann with the cross. Giroud! Makes no mistake this time. France take the lead.
Mount goes down. It's a penalty for England. Minutes to go in this World Cup quarter-final. Harry Kane steps up. He's missed it. Harry Kane has missed from the penalty spot. England's World Cup is over.
What follows is the scrutiny reserved only for captains, for players who carry the expectation of a country. But while the moment becomes the headline, his response becomes the story. Tottenham's all-time top scorer. Tottenham had seen heroes before. Greaves, Klinsmann, Sheringham, Bale. But the idea of a homegrown striker catching Jimmy Greaves still felt like a fantasy. Greaves belonged to folklore, the black and white era, a record from another footballing world. But Kane never chased it with noise. Every season just looked the same from the outside. 20 goals, 25 goals, 30 goals. He would disappear into the summer and return with the same sharpness, the same drive, the same hunger that made defenders miserable. By the time he approached the final stretch, Spurs fans weren't counting the goals. They were counting the match days. Everyone knew it was coming. The stadium knew. The commentators knew. Even opponents seemed to sense they were participating in the history of another club.
Kane! He's done it! It's the record! And he's got it against the champions!
Kane passed Jimmy Greaves not because he was the flashiest player, but because he never stopped, never dropped, never disappeared. It was more than a record. It was the symbol of a lifetime's work. A kid who wasn't predicted to succeed, becoming the greatest goal scorer Tottenham Hotspur had ever seen.
Harry Kane is football. In his DNA, you can feel, you can smell that every time he can show the best football you can see. To compare one player like Harry Kane to the top in the history, you have to wait the end of his career, but we want to enjoy and to work with players like Harry.
For England, the conversation around Harry Kane had always been a little different. At club level, he was the academy kid who proved everyone wrong. For England, he was something rarer, a striker who carried not just form, but expectation. Every camp, every qualifier, every tournament, it always seemed to circle back around him. Passing Rooney went from maybe one day to inevitable faster than anyone realised. And yet, every time he closed the gap, people shifted in their seats. because England have always had great strikers. Shearer, Lineker, Rooney. But nobody had ever managed to stand alone at the top. It became a chase that followed him everywhere. Every away tunnel, every warm-up, every pundit's pre-match briefing.
Is this the night? Will he do it here this time?
But this story wouldn't take the straight line. In Qatar, when the record felt destined, he tied it, only to miss the penalty that could have broken it. The image travelled the world. The captain staring into the grass, the weight of a nation on his back, the record suspended in mid-air. What happened next is the part that defines him. No retreat, no hiding, no drama. Kane walked back into the England camp months later with the same steady stare and the same routine.
Kane is convinced the ball hit the arm there. And it's a penalty for England! It's Kane.
Passing Rooney, not with spectacle, but with certainty. It wasn't the finish that made the moment special. It was what came before it. The scars, the setbacks, the pressure, the expectation. Breaking the record wasn't just a statistic. It was the story of a player who refused to be shaped by failure. A captain who carried England through eras, through managers, through generations of teammates. The story wasn't about numbers. It was about endurance, about rewriting who gets remembered, about proving that greatness can grow slowly, steadily, relentlessly, goal after goal, season after season, until history has no choice but to acknowledge it.
Yeah, just a really special night for me, a night I'll never forget, and overall just really proud. So thank you to all you guys as well in here, and everyone who's made this dream come a reality.
To break the record in the manner he did, given the recent history, was an indication of his strength of character and his mentality. And I couldn't be happier for him and his family. They're lovely people. He is a brilliant professional, and to do it as quickly as he has as well, with still, a lot of his career still to go, is an incredible achievement. So, huge credit to him.
Bayern Munich and Tottenham Hotspur have agreed a deal for England captain Harry Kane. The transfer fee is reported to be around €100 million.
In 2023, Kane makes the move to Germany. A different league, a different football culture, a different tactical environment. Instead of using this shift as a final chapter, he treats it as a new beginning. He adapts immediately, not just as a scorer, but as a creator, a connector, a player who interprets the modern number 9 role in a way built on intelligence rather than explosiveness.
I've done a lot of good things in my career, but it was just something that was missing. It's something I wanted to achieve, and obviously to have it now is it's a lot of emotions. It's happiness, it's a bit of relief, it's excitement. So I've just tried to kind of take it all in.
Kane's movement becomes more fluid. He drops deeper, threads passes, presses from different angles. The goals continue, but the way he influences matches broadens. He becomes a blueprint for a new kind of forward, one who can operate in multiple phases of play, who can lead a press, create space, and still finish like a traditional striker. This period highlights how Kane's game has matured. Not a late career wind-down, but an evolution. A forward who stays at the top not because of athletic peak, but because of reading the game differently from others. He's not reinventing himself because he has to. He's doing it because the sport itself keeps changing, and he refuses to be left behind. What emerges here is a portrait of longevity, of how a player can remain elite through adaptation, consistency, and an understanding of who he is on the pitch. It's a continuation, not a conclusion. He broke the record for most Bundesliga goals by an English player before the winter break. He then went on to pass the mark for most goals scored in a debut season for Bayern Munich. Soon he was chasing and surpassing the record for the fastest player in Bundesliga history to reach 20 goals, hitting milestones that normally take strikers seasons, not months.
Every player, every club want to win trophies, and it wants to be, that's the ultimate goal every season, but you know, there's a process into winning, there's a process into individual and team. You know, you want to improve as a player individually every year. You want to get better. You want to show the world that, you know, your capabilities, and you want to push yourself to the very limits. And then, you know, you hope as that helps with the team. You hope as a team you can come together and find a real togetherness and push each other and help each other improve along that process.
Even the figures that once belonged to Lewandowski, the benchmark for modern Bundesliga dominance, suddenly didn't feel unreachable. Kane wasn't just keeping pace with Bayern tradition, he was resetting it. By the end of his first season, Kane had put up numbers no foreign player had touched in their first year. A Premier League striker, written off early in his career as too slow, too raw, too ordinary, walked into Europe's biggest institutions and reshaped their debut season record book in less than 12 months.
It's Kane!
He's made a conscious decision for himself to just open up his game to different things, like how he's dropping to receive between the lines. I don't think it's something that... I'm always really careful with this because, you know, you want your goal scorers to be in position to score goals. But in the end, it also allows him to lose a little bit the attention of the defenders for a little bit, because everybody looks at the playmaking as something that is just him on the ball creating chances for others. I think sometimes the fact that he goes out of position allows him to have less attention from the defenders when he gets back in position, because he becomes someone else's problem. And how we understand that side of the game. So in the end, Harry is still scoring goals. But it's that side of the game that I think he keeps developing it, he keeps working on it. And then I will add something else. He's also a leader in our team. And to have one of the best performing players at the moment also show the example in training, in the details of preparation for each game, in the focus. That's something that... yeah, I'm very fortunate as a coach that I have players like this doing that.
At Bayern, the story was the same as everywhere else he'd been. Give Kane a chance and he gives you goals. Give him time and he gives you history.
You know, it's... From the club's point of view, it will be a fouled season if we don't win anything this year, because we're expected to win. But then all we can do is take that into next year and try and turn that around. So, yeah, I think there's a harsh, you know, reality in winning and losing, and of course that you can do a lot of good things throughout the year and still end up on the losing side. So I don't think it's as you know, as harsh as that. You know, there's a lot of things that go into it, but I think the main thing for us right now is that we still have an opportunity to turn the season into a great season.
It's full time in Leipzig, and it ends Leipzig 2, Bayern Munich 2. Bayern now need Leverkusen to lose or draw tomorrow to win the title. It's a simple task for Leverkusen today. All they need to do is win to stay in the title race. Freiburg makes it 2-0. And Leverkusen are on the ropes here. They salvage a draw, but it's not enough. Bayern are champions. Harry Kane finally gets the first trophy of his career.
Yeah, it means a lot. I think obviously it was one thing that was kind of missing from, you know, my career at this stage, and I've been close on many occasions. I've done a lot of good things in my career, but it was just something that was missing. It's something I wanted to achieve, and obviously to have it now is it's a lot of emotions. You know, it's happiness, it's a bit of relief, it's excitement. So I've just tried to kind of take it all in as much as I can these last couple of weeks. We've had some good celebrations, another one here today, and then yeah, like always with me, you know, it'll be kind of on to the next one. I'll get a little rest and then look forward to the summer in the Club World Cup.
Harry Kane's legacy isn't just built on numbers, even though the numbers are extraordinary. They're the proof of something deeper, that persistence can outperform promise, that a player who was never labelled a prodigy can shape an era simply by refusing to stop improving.
Harry has not necessarily had a big different role than last year, but he's evolved in how probably he sees the role, and as long as the balance is there between doing that and scoring goals, then it's our job to work around that and support it.
At Bayern Munich, that idea becomes even clearer. He arrives in a new league, a new country, and the output continues immediately. Goals, assists, influence. Kane breaks records that stood untouched for decades. Not because he's chasing them, but because consistency has been his normal for more than 10 years. Every season looks like the best season of his career.
You know, I think in football, in life, you never know what's around the corner, but for me, I'm really happy here at Bayern Munich. My family is settled down, my kids are loving it here in school. So yeah, this is my life there for the foreseeable future. I love the manager, I love the team here. I think we're you know, only just getting started to what could be a really successful period for this club, and you know, I want to be a big part of that. So yeah, who knows how many years, but for sure I'm going to be here for a while.
But legacy is rarely only about statistics. It's also about what a player represents. Young forwards talk about watching Kane's movement, his finishing, the way he creates space without relying on pace. They study how he drops deep, how he presses, how he makes a team function around him. Kane becomes a reference point for players who don't fit the traditional academy mould. A reminder that growth can come later and that resilience matters as much as talent.
Yeah, I just think, you know, when you win as a team, you really get to, you know, celebrate what you've done throughout the year. You know, we go through so much hard work, you know, training every day, games, pressure, situations. And I think when you don't win, you don't really have a chance to really be together and take that all in and talk about what you've done and go through and reminisce a little bit, I guess. So, you know, when you win a title, you know, you have that moment together, you have the celebrations, you talk about what you went through, and in a way it brings you even closer and makes you hungry for more. So, yeah, that's what I've enjoyed the most these last couple of weeks. It's just really, you know, seeing the players relax and being in an environment where, you know, you just talk and enjoy the moment together, and that's what kind of building a team is all about.
And that influence stretches beyond England. Coaches and analysts point to Kane as an example of what the modern striker can be. Adaptable, intelligent, capable of shaping a game in every phase. He shows that evolution is a skill in itself.
Are you the best player you've ever been right now?
I'd say, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'd say probably, yeah. Obviously, I've had good moments throughout my whole career, but I think just on a whole, physically, mentally, obviously the goals, the way I'm involved in the game, probably more than what I have been in other years. Yeah, it's all kind of come together nicely, and yeah, playing obviously for England, I always feel like I'm playing for one of the best teams. I'm going to get chances, and also with Bayern, I feel you know, we're in a really good moment, which helps me and helps me get chances. And yeah, so far this season, it's been really good.
As his career continues, the picture becomes clearer. Kane isn't defined by a single moment or a single trophy. He's defined by longevity, reinvention, and the ability to stay at the highest level long after the football world expected someone else to take his place.
my family, my wife, my kids, we all moved out here to Germany, and it was a big step in our life, and not just professionally, but personally as well. And you know, they go through all the emotions with me, the highs, the lows, and it's, you know, as much their title as it is mine, and you know, we have to all celebrate this moment together. You know, my parents, my brother. There's a lot of people involved in my team behind the scenes, and without any of them, it wouldn't be possible. So it was nice to share that moment with all of them on the pitch last week, and have the trophy, have the pictures, see the kids running around and enjoying it, because it's great memories for them as well. And yeah, I've enjoyed every minute of it. You know, it was a big step. You know, I could have easily stayed in England and scored many more goals and maybe won a trophy, but it was more about pushing myself to see how good I could be. I wanted to be playing at the highest level for as long as possible, and I've been doing that, although we haven't obviously won the Champions League or anything like that yet. We're challenging for titles every year. We're having big games in the Champions League, and that's where I want to be. And you know, I feel like with the manager here, with the team here, we're only going to get better, and we have a tournament now in the summer to hopefully, you know, win another trophy, and that's what I want to do. For as long as, you know, physically and mentally I feel at the top of my game, I want to be at the best place possible, and that's here at Bayern Munich.
His legacy is still being built, driven by the same steady persistence that carried him through loan spells, setbacks and near misses.
You know, straight away you can see how motivated he is, how committed he is, how much of a good example he is around the players. Every single session he's the first out, and to have that kind of example for the younger players coming through is testament to him, and you know, his motivation. We spoke on the phone when I was confirmed for the job, and you could tell straight away how motivated he was to, you know, to win a major tournament with England, which is brilliant for whoever comes in.
You know how highly I think and feel for Harry, and how much I fought to bring him to Bayern Munich, and so he is already on his way to be a legend in English football.
Let's talk about Harry Kane. England's all-time top scorer, Tottenham's all-time top scorer, breaking records left, right and centre for Bayern. I mean, surely he's in the discussion for best striker in the world.
For me, he is. There's no one better than him at the moment.
His vision, his passing, yes, it is, because we have had him for a while, it's easy to underestimate, but he's a top-level player. He's also now a new experience at a different club, where he's looking to win trophies all the time, and he's got to win every week, and different sort of focus and pressure as the big signing there. So
he leaves a blueprint, proof that greatness isn't reserved for the players people notice early. Sometimes it belongs to the ones who simply refuse to stop.
I've said before, even before I won this, I think a major trophy with your country is the pinnacle of being a footballer. You know, I'm so proud to represent England. I'm proud to wear the shirt every time I step out on the pitch, and you know, we've been awfully close to giving the fans, you know, one hell of a party, and that's what we want to do. We want to be the team to do that. So the opportunity excites me, because you know, your career doesn't last forever, and you've got to try and make the most of the tournaments that are in front of you. And you know, a World Cup in America is going to be as big as it gets. So yeah, the aim is to try and win that trophy.